मंच पर विराजमान सूचना और प्रसारण मंत्रालय के राज्य मंत्री और जिन्होंने भारत में और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भारत को एक स्पोर्ट्स की दृष्टि से गौरववान भविष्य देने का वचन दिया है और संकल्प लिया है, ऐसे आदरणीय कर्नल राज्यवर्धन राठौड़ जी, मंचासीन सचिव आदरणीय एन के सिन्हा जी, प्रसार भारती के मुखिया आदरणीय सूर्य प्रकाश जी, सीईओ शशि शेखर वेम्पति, मंच पर विराजमान डीजी ऑल इंडिया रेडियो शहरयार साहब, राजीव जी, और आज यहाँ पधारे मीडिया जगत से, मात्र ब्रॉडकास्टिंग जगत से नहीं बल्कि मीडिया जगत के कई हमारे सम्मानित महिला और पुरुष सहयोगी, और साथ ही स्टूडेंट्स who look at the broadcasting sector and the media sector as possibilities for their own future. Ladies and gentlemen, at the onset, let me tell Prasar Bharati how humbled I am that you invited me to deliver the Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture. For me, the legacy of speakers for this memorial lecture is such that any political administrative representative will feel humbled to stand on this very stage and deliver a lecture which has such an illustrious history. आज मैंने जब मंच पर DGAIR से आग्रह किया कि मैं ये भाषण हिंदी में दूं, तो शहरयार साहब ने मुस्कुराते हुए कहा, मैम वो संभव नहीं है, क्योंकि सरदार पटेल मेमोरियल लेक्चर का इतिहास रहा है that this lecture has always been delivered in English. That is the template of the lecture. But imagine today if the Iron Man himself heard what is the template that we have set for a lecture in his memory. A man who reflected that by the sheer will of an individual citizen, provinces in those parts of our country that wanted to come under one constitution, a constitution that recognizes the multicultural aspects and beauty of our country, a constitution that recognizes and legalizes the use of so many dialects, in fact, up to 1600 recognized across the world, a constitution that gives emphasis to languages which might not be spoken in the national capital, but which stand proud and equal to the language that I speak today from this dais. What would that Iron Man think of the imposition that the Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture be only done in English? And hence, knowing that I have been a rebel with and without causes many a times, I choose to deliver this lecture in two languages, Hindi and English, with the permission of the Prasar Bharati chairperson and with the support of my colleague, राज्यवर्धन राठौड़। आज अगर हम ब्रॉडकास्टिंग की दुनिया को देखें और किसी साधारण नागरिक से पूछें कि ब्रॉडकास्टिंग की परिभाषा आपके लिए क्या है, तो उनकी दृष्टि से शायद ब्रॉडकास्टिंग का मतलब एक तरफ न्यूज़, और अगर नौजवानों से पूछें, महिलाओं से पूछें कि ब्रॉडकास्टिंग का आपका नजरिया क्या है, तो मुख्यतः जवाब विशेषतः भारत के ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों से आता है कि जनरल एंटरटेनमेंट। आज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिवली अगर हम ब्रॉडकास्टिंग की परिभाषा करने बैठें तो हमसे ये कहा जाता है कि ब्रॉडकास्टिंग के सरकार की दृष्टि से दो मायने हैं, एक प्राइवेट सेक्टर और दूसरा पब्लिक ब्रॉडकास्टर जो प्रसार भारती के रूप में प्रतिस्थापित किया गया है। जब बात पब्लिक ब्रॉडकास्टर की होती है तो कई बार अगर यहाँ बैठे नौजवानों से कहें कि सुबह आप में से कितने लोग ऑल इंडिया रेडियो सुनते हैं और कितने लोग प्राइवेट चैनल्स, तो शायद जवाब कुछ ऐसा आएगा जो शहरयार जी को अटपटा सा लगे। अगर आज हम जनरल एंटरटेनमेंट की दृष्टि से पूछें कि वो कौन सा एंटरटेनमेंट कंटेंट है जो एज कंज्यूमर्स यू वांट टू वॉच, तो हमें मिक्स्ड रिस्पॉन्सेज मिलते हैं। लेकिन प्रसार भारती के चेयरपर्सन और प्रसार भारती के सीईओ इस बात का गर्व कर सकते हैं कि पब्लिक ब्रॉडकास्टर देश के उन कोनों में जाता है जहां पर प्राइवेट सेक्टर जाना ना मुनासिब समझता है ना प्रॉफिटेबल। इसलिए सबसे पहले हमारी पब्लिक ब्रॉडकास्टर की लेगेसी को इस लेक्चर के माध्यम से मैं यहाँ पर शुभकामनाएं प्रेषित करती हूँ, दैट यू पुट पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट अबव प्रॉफिट एंड बिजनेस इंटरेस्ट which actually capture the imagination of every other broadcaster in our country. But that being said, today if we really want to service the vision of Sardar Patel, who wanted that this diverse nation with so many stories to sell in so many languages, these stories be told in the interest of the people, then the public broadcaster has upon itself a huge responsibility. Yes, we service the national interest in many languages. Yes, we service the national interest at the cost many a time of entertaining aspects. Yes, we service the national interest from a perspective of news by staying away from the normal masala kind of news, which would probably get more eyeballs, which would probably get more attention from consumers, but not be in the larger interest of the public. I say so not as a minister, but as a consumer of news. How many of us in the private sector are always told that today news in some medium or the other has become almost like a spectator sport? How many of us know that if you want to service democracy, one of the biggest services that we can give as broadcasters is to give the news, but not with that added element of drama, so that we underline for the consumer that news can only be interesting if it has a controversy attached to it. And hence, if we want to give a model template of engaging through information with our citizens, it is incumbent upon us to be responsible as news givers, responsible as those who disseminate information in the wider interest of the country and for consumer needs. Today, when I speak of the broadcasting industry, let's begin from the beginning, which is the very ministry that we serve in. When we talk about policy engagements with broadcasters across the country, there have been times when the private sector comes up to us and says that before formulating policies, would you even help us understand what is the pathway that you designate for us, and what is your understanding of how broadcasting should be done in the country? And when we dig deeper, and I've had this conversation with the Secretary INB on many occasions, the first question we ask ourselves as administrators is, how do we, those who design policy, serve the interest of the public through the experiences that we've had across the administrative services, across the states of this country? I say so because today the very fulcrum and the strength of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is the officer from the Information Service who helps us deliver content, who helps us engage not only with citizens, but also helps us engage with broadcasters across the nation. And one of our biggest challenges and opportunities is this, that I hope that we provide enough integrated administrative exposure to every officer in the information service so that they can be strengthened and their skills can be strengthened to serve policies and programs of the people, which generate by the people and definitely are for the people. When we talk about Sardar Patel and his memory, I talk about the services because apart from giving us this great legacy of a strong democracy, he also gave us the civil services, and he very rightfully called the civil services the steel frame of our nation. And with that hope that we will ensure that our skills are built up to serve the broadcaster needs in the times to come, I would now like to also reflect on what is the role of the broadcaster as envisaged by the citizen at large. Today, when I talk about engaging with our citizens through broadcasting, what is the one challenge that the youth throw to us? When we began the broadcasting journey in our country, how many of us envisaged that one day a time will come in India where headlines will compete with hashtags? How many of us had envisaged that every line that you write in a newspaper will be challenged through social media? And how many of us had envisaged that a journalist who works in the broadcasting sphere does have a template of ethics and conduct rules that they need to abide by, but others don't play by the same rules? So these are the questions before us today when we talk about democratic means of communication, when we talk about democratic means of conveying information to our audience at large. Should this question be answered by those in government, or should these questions be answered by those who are already a part of this journey is a question and an answer that I leave open to the audience. Today, when I said that news has become a spectator sport, how many of us actually totally believe that because the lines between broadcasting and the lines between those who are ensuring that content reach through other means of technology are blurring? And when I talk about that blurring, I look at broadcasters who say that we have to generate content by abiding by the programming and advertising codes that the government sets for us, but you do not have the same set of rules for others who want to create content. So who plays the devil's advocate? Who plays the role of bridging that gap is a question that I throw open to the audience today. When we talk about broadcasting in a democracy, and you ask any journalist, ask any production house, what is the basis on which a broadcaster's journey can be strengthened? They will say that we exist because we look at broadcasting as a business venture. And for any business venture today to exist, for us the lifeline, a private broadcaster would say, is the number game or the surveys or the audience measurement that you give. आज जब ऑडियंस मेजरमेंट की मैं बात करती हूँ तो आज जितने नागरिक बैठे हैं जिनका मीडिया से कोई सरोकार नहीं, जितने स्टूडेंट्स बैठे हैं जो मीडिया में एक अपने लिए भविष्य तलाशते हैं, उनसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, हम में से एज कंज्यूमर्स कितने लोग जानते हैं कि एक व्यूअर की व्यूअरशिप का पैटर्न, एक व्यूअर की लाइकेबिलिटी का पैटर्न किस प्रकार से मेजर होता है? मैं एक उदाहरण देती हूं आपको। टेक्नोलॉजिकल एक्सप्लोजन के बाद आज हम गर्व से कह सकते हैं कि जब हम राज्यवर्धन राठौड़ के साथ मन की बात को स्टडी करते हैं, तब ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के आंकड़े और ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंटरफेसेस हमें बताते हैं कि जितनी हमारी लिसनरशिप है उनमें से अवेयरनेस लेवल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग the message of the Prime Minister and then impacting their lives have actually reached over 61%. How many of us envisaged that this is what technology can help deliver to the broadcasting sector? That now content cannot be viewed in isolation only from the creative or from the revenue perspective, but actually there can be technological interference and interface so that we recognize how much our consumer is understanding in terms of the content that is reaching them. और आज अगर हम ब्रॉडकास्टिंग की व्यूअरशिप की मेजरमेंट की बात करें तो शायद ये कहना उचित होगा कि उस मेजरमेंट में सबसे बड़ी चुनौती ये है कि हिंदुस्तान की जो डाइवर्सिटी है और हिंदुस्तान का जो रीजनल ब्रॉडकास्टिंग स्ट्रेंथ है वो हमें कितना दिखाई देता है, वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा प्रश्न बनकर उभरा है। इसलिए आज अगर हम चाहते हैं कि ब्रॉडकास्टिंग लैंडस्केप हमारा इतना सशक्त हो कि वो हमारे लोकतंत्र को और शक्ति प्रदान करे, तो इसके लिए सबसे पहली शर्त ये होगी कि जो रीजनल ब्रॉडकास्टर्स हैं, चाहे वो न्यूज़ की दृष्टि से हो या एंटरटेनमेंट कंटेंट की दृष्टि से हो, चाहे वो पत्रकार ही क्यों ना हो, उनको उतनी ही अहमियत मिलनी चाहिए जितनी कि उन लोगों को मिलती है जो शायद मात्र राष्ट्र की राजधानी में है अथवा जो मात्र इंग्लिश में रिपोर्टिंग करते हैं। आज अगर व्यूअरशिप की बात करें तो मुझे ये कहते हुए बहुत गर्व होता है कि प्रसार भारती के माध्यम से ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में आज वो सेवा दी जा रही है जो कई बार प्राइवेट ब्रॉडकास्टर के माध्यम से हम नहीं पहुंचा सकते। लेकिन जब प्रसार भारती और प्रसार भारती का रेवेन्यू का एजेंडा देखा जाए तो उनकी सबसे बड़ी चुनौती ये होती है कि ग्रामीण अंचल में जो कंटेंट देखा जाता है उसकी व्यूअरशिप मेजरमेंट अपने आप में कितनी एक्यूरेट है, वो भी इनके लिए चिंता का विषय बन जाता है। That is why if we want to have a very model structure of broadcasting to strengthen our democracy, we have to first democratize the measurement systems for our viewership in our country, thereby giving more voice and more power to all those who now broadcast in regional language. For instance, today, I am compelled to speak in English and Hindi. लेकिन मैं ये भी जानती हूँ कि अगर आज मेरी इस स्पीच को इस ऑडियंस में बैठा, इस सभागार में बैठा महाराष्ट्र का कोई पत्रकार जो प्रिंट मीडिया में लिखता हो, वो इसे मराठी में अनुवादित करके भेजे, तो मात्र महाराष्ट्र की ही उस मराठी भाषा में 2 करोड़ नागरिकों से हम संपर्क कर सकते हैं। ये हमारी प्रांतीय भाषाओं की ताकत है, जिसे आज हमारी ब्रॉडकास्टिंग इंडस्ट्री समझ रही है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं उस गल्फ को, उस दूरी को कम करना हमारा लोकतांत्रिक दायित्व है। जब हम बात करते हैं नंबर्स की, तो क्यों चिंतित होते हैं मुझ जैसे या सूर्य प्रकाश जी जैसे या शशि शेखर जैसे या एनके सिन्हा जैसे लोग? बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट इज by far one of the biggest advertisers today in the broadcasting business. Apart from those in the FMCG segments who want to advertise and make their messages reach far and wide across the country and the world, it is the government with the taxpayers' money that becomes the biggest advertiser. And when you talk about the strength of a democracy, you look at the aspects and the patterns of content which impact how people look at a democracy. So today we might find many people who might want to gravitate towards a private broadcaster in terms of a news channel, because they will give you some breaking content, some controversial content which will be very snazzy, but not want to take part in an engagement with the DD News, which is much sedate, much academic, and much to the point without prescribing their own point of view or their own agenda to it. Hence, it would not be wrong to say that there is an agenda, a creative content, and a revenue divide which needs to be, a gap which needs to be filled from the broadcasting perspective. मुझे कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि ये भी सत्य होगा आज मैं, क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीज़ें खुलकर बोल रही हूँ, कि शहरियार साहब ने कुछ टॉकिंग पॉइंट्स मुझे भी भेजे थे। वो थोड़े अचंभित इसलिए इस वक्त मंच पर बैठे हैं क्योंकि उन्होंने जो जो मुझे लिखकर बोला था, भेजा था, वो मैं बहुत ही स्टूडियसली अवॉइड कर रही हूँ। थोड़े बहुत उनके पसीने भी छूट रहे होंगे कि मैंने जो एजेंडा दिया वो तो बोल नहीं रही मैडम, अलग बोल रही हैं। But this is what I want to reassert. It is the duty of the public broadcaster, and I compliment Surya Prakash ji and Shashi Shekhar for it, to ensure that you speak fairly and freely, which you are doing so under your leadership, and I congratulate you for that. And it is also incumbent upon us that when we talk about media and broadcast policies, we talk about it freely, because Sardar Patel's one of his biggest desires was that we might have a different view politically, ideologically, economically, socially, but ultimately we all are citizens of one nation. And it is for that nation to be progressive, it is for that nation to have a bright future. इसी के लिए हम सब प्रतिबद्ध हैं। इसीलिए आज मैं शहरियार साहब के दिए हुए शब्दों को नहीं बोल रही, बल्कि अपने शब्दों को बोल रही हूँ। आज अगर आप ब्रॉडकास्टिंग की दुनिया में जाकर किसी से पूछें कि सबसे बड़ी चुनौती क्या है, तो जनरल एंटरटेनमेंट कंटेंट वाले ये कहेंगे, जिसकी मैं सौगात हूं, कि जी कहानियां कोई पुरानी वाली नहीं सुनते। आज वो देश जहां पर शाम को दादा दादी की कहानियां अपने आप में इतनी दिलचस्प होती थी कि ना किसी रेडियो की जरूरत होती थी ना टेलीविजन की, उस देश में क्रिएटिव कंटेंट को लेकर कई लोग कई प्रकार की डिस्कशंस और डिबेट करते हैं। ये मेरी खुशनसीबी है कि आज इस सभागार में हमारे देश के बहुत ही विख्यात फिल्म मेकर मुजफ्फर अली साहब बैठे हैं। A creative personality, the legacy of your country, the stories that we have to send, and broadcasting, how can they all come together? I have the privilege and I have the responsibility of looking after not only our work in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, but I was also extremely lucky to get an opportunity to serve in the sector of textiles. When I met Muzaffar Ali Sahab, one of my first requests to him was साहब आप कहानियाँ बहुत अच्छी प्रस्तुत करते हैं, लेकिन क्या आप हमारे बुनकरों की, हमारी हैंडीक्राफ्ट की वो कहानियाँ जो किसी गांव में, किसी शहर में धीरे धीरे दम तोड़ रही हैं, उनको अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर प्रस्तुत करने में हमारी मदद करेंगे या नहीं? आई मस्ट से Muzaffar Ali Sahab said, I will do this as a part of my journey. He went to Bhagalpur, he went to Kashmir, he went to study the story of Pochampalli, he went to Maheshwar, he went to Assam and saw all those women weavers and a village full of weavers, sat with them, shot their stories, came back not only as a storyteller, but also as somebody who could give his creative content now to Prasar Bharati, so that those stories about our craft legacies can be delivered to the rest of the nation through the public broadcaster. I say this today because there are many more stories to be told. And that is why it is incumbent upon us to ensure that the public broadcaster is strengthened from time to time. Because these stories might not be very glamorous. Yes, they are educative. Yes, they bring forth our legacies. Yes, they become the voice of the people. But they might not have a big sponsor waiting for them in the 9 o'clock slot. And that is where I talk about the social media explosion. And that is why I talk about the headline versus hashtag race that we see today. When you talk about mainstream media and broadcasters, some say that the social media is a disruptor. I say that they give us a new pathway of telling stories in a new way. And when I look at the possibilities of a future for these youngsters who hear this lecture today, what do I see? It is estimated through an industry report that 70 to 80% of India's total internet users in the year 2018 will be mobile users as well. There is a lot of internet, mobile, and content which can come together on one platform and service their desires not only for news but entertainment content. But in all of that is hidden a possibility for a career for our youngsters. There is a FICCI report which talks about the gaming industry in our country growing by 30% and digital advertising industry growing furthermore. But when I look at the career possibilities, while my colleague Rajyavardhan Rathore looks at strengthening the capabilities from a sports perspective of the young, as information and broadcasting ministers, both of us, it is incumbent upon us to even strengthen design thinkers in the business of broadcasting. And we talk about design thinkers. Do we want people to just make prototypes from a content perspective, or do we want them to think anew? Today, if we want to strengthen career prospects in broadcasting from a digital perspective, under the flagship program of the Honorable Prime Minister, under Digital India, then our biggest responsibility is to ensure that these young students not only have a digital perspective towards content, but also have a multidisciplinary approach towards that kind of academia so that they become design thinkers much better than those we have in the Western world. And I say so because I know that the ministry, in conjunction with IIMC and other bodies, is ensuring that animation and other forms of digital experiences in terms of curricula is imparted to students who seek a future in Indian media and especially broadcasting and the digital space. So as Sardar Patel ji said, let us look at the nation from a perspective of the future. Yes, we bicker on many issues in the present. Yes, there are many challenges in the present and some questions of the past that we seek to answer. But let us always stay focused on the future of this country. The Prime Minister has given a clarion call for a new India by the year 2022. And for that, we need to ensure that not only broadcasting possibilities and landscapes in our democracy are strengthened, but at the same time, those lines which are now blurring between broadcast and other avenues of entertainment, infotainment, and news are gaps that we address at the earliest. On behalf of me and my colleague in the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, I can assure you that all those needs and all those challenges will be met with a solution. But yet again, I assure you that we are committed to providing those solutions, because through your blessings, with your support, we hope to contribute to the Prime Minister's vision of a new India by 2022, a vision that is inspired by the lives and times of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind.